know I don't got no standards. My standards all low. For some reason, I guess the budget wasn't budgeting. They invited this man to give a commencement speech at a graduation. Safe, honey. Tell your baby daddy to find bitches here. Hi, everybody. I'm Alex.
And I'm Mary.
And this is
Lawyering Out Loud,
a podcast about life, lawyering, and
all the things we're mad about.
What's up, friend? How you been?
I'm great. By the time this comes out, we would have already premiered our first episode. And we're throwing it out into the universe. Our numbers are going to be multiplied.
And it's up, and it's up, and it's up, and it's up,
and oh, okay. And I think the most important thing is that we're still enjoying this. Actually, I think we're enjoying this even more now.
I'm not too stressed about this.
Me either.
Not that I ever was. You know how that works. But how you been? How your week been? How's work?
Pretty good. Work is working. They work at me. But I'm pretty good. And how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Glad to be back in Miami, my old stomping ground. And run into any one of my old booze. But I mean,
you still got a whole night left.
Ooh, girl. We're not here for this. We gotta stay fightful
and focused.
Let's just get into it, right?
Okay.
We don't have the whole night now.
All right.
So
because I work, you sometimes work.
I try.
So we got things to do.
Correct. Is it me or have people been acting out a lot lately?
Acting out, girl, straight up got me like gasping. It's all around. Straight gasp.
People are really acting out this week. What's going on? They're cutting up.
A whole lot. But that's without saying that we are in Florida and people stay cutting up all day, all night. You know, Florida man, Florida woman. So, a lot more than usual. You think it's the heat? You think it's getting to people?
It has to be global warming or some shit. What is this with Florida?
Girl. Every single time something comes on the news, I'm like, please don't say Florida, please don't say Florida.
And it's always Florida.
But with that being said, I'm from Miami 305 and it's a no for us.
Oh, man, no. Oh, absolutely. You all are not exempt. Miami.
We are exempt. We are not the same. We are not equal.
I mean, Miami's not like the rest of Florida, but
Correct.
Y'all be cutting up. Y'all with the mix.
Because we know how to live it up. Correct.
Speaking of cutting up, some people have really been cutting up in the news this week.
Correct.
Like,
actually, we couldn't even choose just one. We had so many things to choose from about people cutting up.
Yeah, so let's talk about the first one.
Okay.
Governor Greg Abbott.
Yes.
What's going on with him?
Greg Abbott pardoned an ex-Army sergeant who killed a BLM protester. He was convicted of killing the protester who was attending a BLM protest with his fiancée. The victim was white. His fiancée was black. Now, Forster claims he shot the victim out of self-defense, but clearly the jury thought otherwise. And with that, he's supposed to be serving a 25-year sentence. Greg Abbott pardoned him, so he's free.
Of course he did. I am so sick and tired of people like gaslighting me about Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott is a direct result of America's ableism. So many fucking people see Greg Abbott as harmless because he's a wheelchair user. Greg Abbott is a demon. Greg Abbott is a menace. Greg Abbott literally is the most racist person in this country in an official position. More dangerous than Ron DeSantis because ableism has caused people to overlook him in ways that they don't overlook DeSantis.
I don't know if you saw the shock in my face because I had never thought of that.
Yeah. I mean, nobody speaks about the ways in which Greg Abbott harms Texans with disabilities while being a wheelchair user, or harms poor Texans. Greg Abbott is a demon. He's a demon.
Wow. Ableism, another episode we're going to have.
For sure.
I mean, intertwined in everything that we actually do because Yeah. Deeply rooted.
I was gonna say hell is not hot enough, but we'll have to talk about that another
And
time.
neither is Texas. Speaking of hell and speaking of demons, let's talk about something else we're mad about. You want to talk about Harrison Butker?
Oh, please, chat.
First of all,
listen.
I'm not going to say that I know football, because I don't, right? But I didn't even know who he was. And
no one knows.
To now not even be known for your talented foot, because what is it, a kicker?
He's not talented, is a problem. That's how you don't know him. Yeah. But let's get into the story.
Okay.
For some reason, I guess the budget wasn't budgeting. They invited this man to give a commencement speech at a graduation. And I suppose when you are a mid-level professional player who's not in any particular way outstanding, and you are not an intellectual person who can offer anything career-wise, all there is left to do is to offer lackluster life advice that could have been given by underachieving men with podcasts. He's telling like one of these men on the internet. Why is it that whenever, in whatever setting, that men are given platforms these days,
girl,
they go on rants about women, about social issues that they don't know anything about? This man's speech was divided into three major parts, right? The women are told diabolical lies about wanting career and they should want children. That abortion is basically murder. And just so many nonsensical shit. He talked about men being emasculated. I have nothing to say about him except that he's a fucking idiot. And whoever invited him is a bigger fucking idiot. What's your take on him? What's your take on him?
You know what? Funny enough, I'm not gonna, not to make it about myself, but I'm single and I'm dating, and it scares me how many men out in the dating scene sound like him and feel comfortable sounding like him and expressing themselves to, like myself as a woman. At this point in age, in 2024, to see it at such a stage, but to also see it at Marianist University, which are run by, sisters, nuns, he missed the mark hard.
For sure.
Now, I'm going to tell you this. If you wanted to highlight about living his faith out and what that means to him, that's fine. The problem is when he missed the mark.
He's not living his faith out. Didn't the Bible say that it's easier for an elephant to go through the whatever of a needle than a rich man to go? Give me your money then, baby. Let me help you live that faith. Don't come and tell me about being barefoot and pregnant, bitch. Run me your check. Let me help you live out that faith.
Okay.
You out here talking about living faith? Please. This man is rich.
Right.
Okay? And Jesus said, my fat elephant ass will faster go through the eye of a needle than his ass get to heaven. Let me help you. But there's also one thing that I really wanted to talk about is the fact that he took it upon himself to tell us about his wife's fulfillment and happiness. And I would love to hear from her.
1,000%. We're obviously going to have another episode about religion, our background, all of that. But how much religion plays into this narrative of staying in relationships that aren't fulfilling simply because you need to fulfill your mark as husband, as wife, as mother, as father, and encourages people who are going through abuse, mental, physical, emotional, financial abuse, to stay in these relationships simply because, well, we have an image to paint. Now, again, because I don't want to get sued, I'm not saying that that's what's happening with what's his name again, girl? I forgot his name. Harrison, right? I'm not saying that that's what's happening.
But, I mean, if she's happy, I love it for her. Because the way my feminism work, girl, if that's your tea, drink it up. But I can't see it. I can't see it.
Well, especially because we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it from her. We haven't heard from her. And
that's not to say that one cannot be more fulfilled being a mom and a wife.
1,000%.
I mean, I do feel like I do well in housewife mode. So I could just see why someone would like being home. I've grown to really love being home. Like, I just love it.
Right.
So I can understand her being happy at home, but it seems so odd to me.
Correct.
How arrogant almost he
Mhm.
showed up. It made me pause. It made me pause.
Agreed. And we've spoken about that. One of the things that we've talked about is how in my culture, in my family upbringing, serving the man first was always a thing. When I dated someone, when I brought someone home, being told by my grandmother or being told by my mom to serve his plate made me even more not want to serve their plate.
Correct.
Right? Made me even more not want to be domesticated. Made me even more, because to them it was a sign of womanhood, of being a good partner, a good woman, a good eventual wife. Even cooking for them, in my culture, they have this saying, when you put your foot in the food, when you're like killing it, they're like, oh, you're ready to get married, as if that's the compliment, right?
I'm ready to eat.
Period. I'm ready to be taken out to dinner. You're absolutely right. What he said, how he said it, his demeanor was total turn off.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
All right, are we mad about anything else?
Girl, so much.
Let me tell you, this story is so wild. I have to just read part of it because I'm like, why? Why are we here? How many times do we have to tell white folks that any sorts of blackface pretending to be black is never gonna be cool? Today we're gonna talk about a Canadian American journalist named Sam Forster. He announced that he was releasing a book, and this is what the man tweeted. I gotta just read it, y'all, because this is too much. Last summer, I disguised myself as a black man and traveled throughout America, the United States of America.
Pause. Did he provide a picture of what disguise means?
I don't believe he did. Thank goodness.
Well,
and he continued on and said he traveled throughout the United States to document how racism persists in American society. Writing Seven Shoulders, which is the name of his raggedy ass book, was one of the hardest things I've ever done as a journalist. It's out May 30th. He posted this in May. And
at least he ain't doing it on Juneteenth.
I was like, you're a journalist. I'm guessing you owe some sort of interviewing equipment. How about you get some real black people and ask us what the is going on up in here? Because we could have told you this caricature blackface BS is not needed.
Also, quote, most important book on American race relations that has ever been written.
He said that about his own book?
Noted.
He said that about his own book?
Correct.
This is a full-blown white supremacist narcissist. Okay? I am not an expert in nothing. And I'm so sick and tired of the internet throwing out the narcissist word. But this man,
correct,
this white man, to have the audacity to say he wrote the most important book on race in the United States. This man is not black. He is not even American.
Correct.
Are you kidding me? Is this a fucking joke? I can't. A bitch is tired. Take me out. I'm done, y'all. I'm done. A bitch is tired.
If he really wanted to write about race, he could have centered voices, right? Specific voices who are leading these conversations. And there was no need for him to go into costume, go into perpetual Halloween. I don't understand. But besides that, I was gonna say who published it, but I just remembered that it's self-published, right? It's self-published, because who would publish such nonsense? But, and again, it's not saying that he couldn't have written about another perspective, but the need to disguise yourself to then go in and then become the voice of the outcry, like, my man, it's enough for us. More importantly, the conversation of racism happens and should be happening in the white spaces. So he could have written from that perspective to other white people. This whole thing of infiltrating in to almost validate as if racism is real now that he's experienced it is
bullshit.
Is outrageous, number one. But number two, very much true to how most people experience racism, right? White people experience racism. If it's not to someone close to them, then Oh, it's not real. Oh, race isn't real in America.
Yeah. I know you paid good money for this costume, baby, but you could have just gone to
Did
your
he?
mama's house.
Did he? We don't know.
He probably did not. I mean, what's a nappy wig going for these days? I don't freaking know. But you could have just gone to your mama's house. If you want to have a conversation about racism, talk to the racist. Talk to your mama. Talk to your siblings. Talk to the mirror. Talk to yourself. You are the racist who need to be talking to. Mm-hmm.
I mean, right. Correct.
He ain't had to do all that. Traveling all the way over here, using equipment. You could have just talked to your parents, baby.
And that's assuming he had equipment.
I mean, he had time to buy a wig. I hope he had time to buy a mic. Shit.
Minimum.
God damn it.
At minimum.
I'm so sick of these people. Y'all gonna have me stressed. But, child, speaking of stress, should we go into our next segment?
Yes.
All of these stories really didn't have me gasping for air as much as they had me just pissed off.
Clutching for our pearls, baby.
Yeah, but the next stories for the next segment, honey.
Straight
So
gasp.
we're going into our next segment called Lawyers in the News, where we're bringing you a little tea about the lawyers and how they might be cutting up or doing good things. And this week,
Or cutting up doing good things. Correct.
Call that a double whammy. We have two stories.
Right.
And honestly, the first one was so interesting to me. And it was in the trial for the rapper Young Thug.
Correct.
What happened in this shit? Talk to me.
Okay. First of all, I want to talk about what an ex parte communication is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a defense attorney, a state attorney, and there's a judge. Right?
Mm-hmm.
A defense attorney. If I see my judge in the mall and I want to say hi and I have cases in front of him, I can do that because I'm not addressing anything regarding a case, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can say, have a great day, judge, how are you? That's fine. That's not what ex parte is. Ex parte is when you have communications with one party and the other party is not present and is required to be, because the judge, who is a neutral party in the case, should not depart from his neutral role by having ex parte communications with one side and not with the other. So the reason I explained that is because Brian Steele went to court and told the judge, it's come to my attention that you had ex parte communications with the state and with the state witness who has already been sworn into and was testifying in front of the jury.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that a problem? No one from the defense was present. So he's calling him out. What I find interesting about this is that when he's calling the judge out, the judge is not at all interested in debunking it. He's more interested in who told you, right? This judge got so mad at Brian Steele, who is Young Thug's lawyer, for knowing information that he's like, how did you know about this? Who told you? Tell me who told you, or I'm holding you in contempt. And the attorney said, it is what it is. The judge told him, either you tell me who told you or how you found out, or I'm holding you in contempt. Brian Steele said, put me in the same cell as my client. So he was held in contempt.
A goat.
I want to give a shout out though, because who was representing him in this contempt is his wife.
Also, did you hear that he filed a motion to disqualify the judge from the case? I mean, that's the correct move.
Correct.
That's the correct move.
Because at this point,
I don't see impartiality.
Right.
It's tainted. And I'm not saying that anything wrong happened. I don't know what happened. The facts are not clear.
Well, that's it. The fact that we don't know what...
But I think in the end, what really sucks about this whole situation is that nothing about the exchange between Judge Glanville and Brian Steele restored my faith in the process, in him being able to be an impartial person in the process. He did nothing to even truly address what is a very legitimate issue.
Concern, right.
The trial kind of has gone to shits.
Remember, this is a trial that has been going on for months.
Apparently it's the longest one in Georgia.
And it's supposed to be going on for even longer. So now what does this mean? If there's a mistrial, if it has to start all over again, what does that mean for attorneys? Actually, for clients who have to repay their attorneys.
As a Georgia taxpayer,
that part.
Please, we don't have freaking water in Atlanta. Stop this bullshit. If y'all ain't ready to try this man, let this man go free, okay? This is what the law says. It's better for whatever. If y'all think he's guilty, it's better to let the guilty man go free. But as far as I know, as for gimmicks and nonsense, this is a ridiculous case. I'm so sick of seeing trials being carried out like TV shows.
Correct.
This is looking like a movie. This is somebody's life at stake, and we are playing games. I don't like it. Right. I don't like it. We're getting memes, we're getting moments, but in the end, there is a black man and several black men whose freedom is at stake, and we're playing games.
Let's also talk about what it's doing to the other people, because, for example, the man that has been coming on in memes and in videos for not very readily testifying for the state, and it's a state witness. What does it mean, the power of the state, that you could put someone on the stand who doesn't want to be there? Granted, I think he took a plea deal, which part of the plea was that he had to testify on behalf of the state. But just that power alone.
This part even brings in for me the bigger questions about prosecution and lawyering is, I understand you have all these powers and you have these tools that you can use to negotiate for people and subpoenas and things like that. And as an attorney, I love it sometimes that those tools are available to me, because some people, they will not show up into what I believe is the right thing unless there's a subpoena, unless there's something at stake. But this case is crumbling because we are literally having grown people who can't just lawyer. They are being bullied. They are strong-arming witnesses, exported communication, the lawyer's going to week in jail. Like, what is this shit?
Right.
Like, can we go back to the basics? Like, how are we going to teach the next generation of law school kids how to lawyer when this is a shit show they saying? Like,
we don't have to go all the way to Georgia to look at that. You know, there's the investigation that's going on right now in Miami State Attorney's Office for some of the methods that the state attorneys were employing or deploying with how they were obtaining information, who they were obtaining information from, the deals that they were cutting on some serious murder cases, that they were getting information from people that were not reliable and not disclosing it at all. As a criminal defense attorney, my issue is, if you have the facts and you can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt,
play fair.
Bring it. I'm gonna do my job, you gotta do your job.
Right.
But if they're willing to cut corners for people who are guilty, innocent people are gonna have those corners cut as well. And if this system is really supposed to work, which, you know, question mark, right? Then let's work it the way that it's supposed to be, not by you hiding the cards.
I always say this. If you ever find yourself in a predicament where you want to cut corners, there's reasonable doubt.
Period.
That is the reasonable doubt that is needed in the case. The desire to strengthen your case is the reasonable doubt.
Wow.
Because the only fear is that there might be one holdout, and that one holdout is the reasonable doubt. You want it perfect. And we all know there is no such thing as a perfect case, because you could prep your witness and all of that. Something's gonna fall apart.
Always.
So if before you go to trial, it's already falling apart, baby, just let it go.
Right.
Just let it go. Oh, but that case had me stressed and took me on a tangent, and it kept me up. It kept me up because I was watching this black man in this courtroom arguing with a white man. And I was thinking how much power creates the illusion of superiority to the point where we can't even relate to anybody. Because Young Thug is not the typical quote-unquote criminal defendant by any stretch of the imagination. But somehow, Judge Glenville could not relate as to why his attorney would be very adamant that I would like him to have some rights, please. You know, and I'm like, you enter the system and you become it.
People who are not qualified are taking the bench.
Correct.
It's why we have the outcomes that we have. But people who are not qualified, let's put a dot there, like him, right? Who are not qualified and are now exerting power over people's lives.
Judge Glenville, a clown of monumental proportion for that shit. I'm sorry. Can't say nothing to defend you here, brother. But we have another story.
Yes.
About lawyers in the news. Same case.
Same case.
The bitches are cutting up.
Tell them, girl.
YSL, this white woman who was representing another defendant in this trial. Let me pull this up, child. She was arrested.
For what?
Gang activity, conspiracy, so many charges. And I'm like, before I even get too much into the story, it always baffles me. Maybe it's because I got student loans. It always baffles me the shit that people are willing to lose their bar license over.
Well, allegedly. She ain't convicted.
Correct. But I mean, just in general, not even her.
Right. Sometimes
I would see lawyers be found guilty of things or engage in conduct, and I'm like, I'm not going to say I would never be disbarred, but I would never be disbarred over some shit like this. You know what I'm saying? This woman was representing somebody, and she was charged with tampering with evidence, being involved in gang activity, because she contacted one of the people and revealed to them that the police was going to be investigating or whatever, and to get rid of a phone or some evidence in the case. And I'm like,
nah, it's enough for me.
I don't believe that that's how you lawyer. I don't know much about lawyering that, but I don't believe.
Right.
Trying to think back of what I learned back in law school, I don't think that's how you do it.
Forget law school, the MPRE,
no.
ethics and professionalism, like.
I don't think you call the person and say, get rid of the evidence
on the phone.
Yeah.
With the evidence on the phone. Right.
Yeah, that's not how you do it, right? So what's your take on this, Fagan?
First of all, the rules of ethics say that we're not allowed to do that. So that's number one. Number two,
the rules of common sense say the same thing.
I mean, that part. But you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of clients. It makes me think of clients who don't realize, although we are not living in an NCIS kind of world where you have a non-screen and you go like this and you're moving everything. That's not the world we're living in.
Correct.
Or CSI, right? That's not where we're at. The tools that the state and the police have access to may not be to that level, but it's good enough to catch you. And if you think that simply going to your messages and deleting a message deletes it from your phone, and the police now comes and plugs it into their device, and that they're not going to find that it's deleted, I have news for you. The things that I've seen from cases where the state has extracted information, prime example, they extract information from your car, right? To see if you were texting or if you were voice noting a text that you sent. They can do that. So we might not be to NCIS level, but we are definitely at a level where they can figure things out. So I want to know, in that case, what they have on her that they were able to bring forth these charges.
So all of this is very alleged, right?
Correct.
We don't know that she did anything wrong. And being that this is in Atlanta, and the way I've seen Atlanta move, it might be giving a bit of publicity stunt as always. So I'm waiting to see the evidence. I would say this. I would hope that as a lawyer, we are at a place in the profession that before we send somebody to put some handcuffs on another attorney, we got something tight. So I better not see no sloppy mess, because all I've seen so far in these damn trials is sloppy mess. I need some real tight.
If they're willing to do sloppy mess for someone as international and someone as Young Thug, you think they're not going to do it for a lawyer that nobody knows?
Sis, I don't care about none of that. I need tight shit, because if you're going to go and get the police to put some handcuffs on your colleague, you better got a tight ass case. I don't need to hear about ex parte parties, parte, departe, whatever it takes. I don't want to hear no bullshit. I need straight facts, evidence, clean investigations, no deals, no coercions, no nothing, no witness. I need straight facts.
Well, then don't hold
I need
your breath.
expert reports, investigators that show up on time. I don't need no bullshit, because y'all not about to come out of here, handcuff this lady, put her livelihood in jeopardy over some bullshit. I'm sick of this child altogether. If you're not ready to try a case, don't fucking try it.
Period.
Y'all claim this man was doing this shit for a long time. So why y'all got him? Wait.
Oh,
there was investigation needed.
I felt like the Creole was gonna come out right there.
Everything was about to come out. Shit, my ass about to come out this damn chair. Because I am very upset about the fact that I'm seeing a lot of things play out in the news, in trials, and it's very much giving, I'm trying to catch a moment. Mm-hmm. And social media and media in general has become such a career starter for people of all professions. Right. Lawyers are not immune. Lawyers are heavy as clout chasers. Lawyers really be out here cutting up for likes and views, in the words of my girl Meg. Like, really wanting likes and views. But the problem is that lawyers have a responsibility. We have people's livelihoods, people's freedom, people's real shit at stake. And you out here... Let me tell you something. I'm going to be watching this trial like a hawk. And like I told you, the first kick I see, I'm going to be pissed off. Because y'all not about to go arrest this lady if y'all don't got some shit. Like, real tight.
My thing is, I think I'm so used to the state being like that I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked.
What?
I wouldn't be shocked. Not one bit.
Sis, this is the one time I'm going to say, you better be wrong. You better be wrong. And you and I, we are like this.
I know.
But we are on opposite end of this. I'm hoping.
That's almost as hoping that a judge who is on a case wouldn't have ex parte communications with the state.
I mean, you ain't wrong. I'm not going to say you right, but you ain't wrong. This is too much.
Correct.
This is really, really too much. We talked about a lot of cases today. We talked about a lot of stuff happening. But I think in the end, a lot of it really boiled down to evidence, how things are supposed to be done, how information is supposed to be accessed. We always wrap up the show with a little bit of learning out loud.
Correct.
So, what lessons do you have for the people today?
The only way that the state can get evidence is executing warrants. Well, some of the ways. Executing warrants, or you consent to it. Mm-hmm. So, when we talk about if the police show up to your house and they don't show you that they have a warrant, you should not be consenting. Oh, if you don't have anything to hide, let me in. You don't got a warrant. You should not be consenting for them to be coming into your house.
Correct.
Right?
And you always got something to hide. This body, because they're about to take you to jail, baby.
Period.
Hide the body.
Correct. The problem is, and I've seen it so many times, you may say you don't have anything to hide. You don't know how your other family is living. You don't know how they're moving. You don't have anything to hide, and then they find something else, and now they want to put it on you. And it might be somebody else's. Or they plant it. I don't put anything past the police. So warrants. They have to have a warrant to come to your house and to get in.
What about searching your devices?
Searching your devices. In order to get your cell phone and go through it and get the information that's in it, they need a warrant. If they say, do you allow me to come into the house? Do you allow me to go through your phone? Do you allow me to go into your car? And you say yes, you waived any possible defense, for the most part. Waived any possible defenses that your attorney can have to fight your case, because now you've allowed them and they bypassed a warrant. Yep. Right? Hold the state accountable, hold the police accountable, ask to see a warrant at all times.
Yeah. Make them work for it. And if the stories we told y'all today told y'all anything, is that they don't like to work for it. So make them work for it. Because in many cases they don't.
Right.
That's a very important lesson, Mary. I could not have said it better. And I think with that, folks,
it's a break.
We're out. We're out. Thank you so much for listening to us. And please don't forget to subscribe and follow us on social media. We are L Out Loud Podcast on all platforms. And of course, you can always email us at loutloud@gmail.com.
That was so beautiful.
Bye.
Bye.